And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
And welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Mightier 1090. Pete Gray here with Rock Cod Rick Maxa in the world headquarters here. We're sitting right next to the Royal Polaris here in Fisherman's Landing in the world headquarters. Captain Frank Lowe Preste's here having a great time talking about the Royal Polaris, the Shogun, all the boats in the fleet, and just a really great time to be a sport fisherman.
No doubt, man. And we're talking about bluefin that are biting right now. Things are going great. We're getting through this little weather window. So, yeah, everything's great. And if you want to join us here in the second hour, man, we want to hear from you. Give us a call at 213-432-1090. Again, 213-432-1090. And that not only is your chance to talk to Captain Frank, but also your shot at going fishing on board the Liberty, because we're giving away a full-day trip on the Liberty out of Fisherman's Landing at the end of the show today.
Yeah, going to be a good time for sure. And, boy, keep those texts pouring in, too, because we have some great texts. You can only access the texting option on the Let's Talk Hookup app. If you haven't downloaded the app, I was listening to Rick and Corey yesterday. Great job, Ricky and Corey, from Montana yesterday, and it's such an easy deal. Easy. Anywhere you are, like we had a call from Salem, Oregon this morning. It's so easy to do. You can listen to archives, you can listen to podcasts, everything on the Let's Talk Hookup app. So if you haven't downloaded, it's a free download. So if you are into that and you have a smartphone, even if you're not into it, it's easy.
It's really easy.
Anybody can download the app. It's free. It's easy to do, and then you can listen on demand anywhere. I'll bet even Frank has the app.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. Hey, speaking of which, great text from Scott in El Segundo says, I want to thank Frank for the influence and leadership that he makes the San Diego fleet so special. It means a lot to us anglers. Going on the RP June 4th with this endless wind machine going on, what are some of the techniques to be successful in less than ideal weather and swells?
Well, flat falling is very important, and that has really nothing to do with the weather. But in the weather like this, I would say sinker fishing. As much as I don't like sinker fishing, I'd be prepared to use anything from 3 to 10 ounces, and with a nose hook sardine.
That's effective.
I would say that's important when the weather's up. But right now, talking to Alior this morning, the weather didn't seem like it was up that much. And daytime, I would think middle of the day, it all depends on the school and how it reacts. If they're boiling around pretty good, then I would be fly lining all the way. But if they're not boiling around, occasional boil here, a boil there, one boil off the bow or whatever, then I'd be fishing the sinker. That's about the best thing I can tell you. And, you want to be careful about going down too light. 30 pound would be the lightest I would go down to, and you got to think about the fact you're going to have to fight a 120-pound fish maybe with that 30-pound. That's tough.
But you wouldn't want to fish 30-pound on a sinker rig, though, right?
No.
Yeah.
I would fish at least 50 on a sinker rig. But
yeah.
Fly line-wise, a lot of guys will go to 30.
Sure.
Myself, I don't think I'd go less than 40.
Yeah.
Okay? And you just use a fluorocarbon top shot for sure.
That Cigar Gold Label 40 is like the diameter of 30, but it is strong. We've landed a lot of big fish at Guadalupe, like those real finicky 100-pounders on that Cigar Fluorocarbon 40.
I love that.
That's good stuff.
You might think about increasing your top shot length a little bit, too, if it's real windy. The boats, depending on what boat you're on, some boats roll around a little more than others. And if you end up pulling on a big fish in the bow and the boat's rolling back and forth, some extra length in your top shot can definitely make
like a mono top shot?
Mono or fluoro, whatever.
Fluoro.
Yeah, whatever. Just adding more length is just going to put a little more stretch in the whole equation and maybe keep you from pulling a hook.
Rick, technically, how much does fluorocarbon stretch as compared to mono? Do you know?
I don't know. Technically, I don't know. It definitely has some stretch. It doesn't have as much stretch as mono does, right. But as far as technical numbers, I don't know.
And that's a good reason to have a little extra fluorocarbon
I think so too.
Just because of the stretch.
Yeah, like when you're saying a little extra, are you talking 30 feet, 40 feet, 10 feet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a guy. I mean, there are tons of scenarios, and none of them are ever black and white. You can't say this is the only way to do it. I like to fish a little bit shorter top shot than longer because I like the lesser drag that my bait has when it's swimming through the water. With that said, a short top shot has a lot of negatives that come with it too. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy to cast. The line floats in the water. You need to be a whole lot more on top of where your bait's at to keep yourself from not being in a tangle. You know, we talked about that with Booger. Sure, if everything is done right, it might provide an advantage in your bait swimming better. But if you wind up in 2 or 3 tangles, not only has that advantage gone away, you're looking at a real disadvantage. But having a longer top shot does definitely put a lot more stretch. And if the weather's up, you know, you see it happen. You know, the boat rolls one way, fish goes down, fishing a lot of drag. The trend is fishing these little tiny hooks right now. I mean, you just can't have it all ways. You can't fish too light a line and no top shot and a small hook and have the boat rolling around and expect for hooks not to pull. That's just part of it.
Now, backing up, why don't you like sinker rig fishing, Frank?
Oh, I just like fly lining.
Yeah. Don't we all? Yeah. But sometimes that sinker rig can be effective, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important.
Especially when the weather's up.
Yeah, it's just, fly lining is definitely a lot more fun. Pulling on I agree with Rick. I like the shorter top shot for sure. And, when you think about using 40-pound fluorocarbon, I don't, if that line really doesn't break to 40-pound, there aren't too many people that can set their drag for 40 pounds. I know I can remember years ago some very tough dudes that sat their drags at 38 to 40 pounds fishing the big yellowfin, and I'm telling you, you can barely hold on to that thing.
Really?
Barely.
That's a lot. But the big factor to me is the chew factor. Okay, that's where we lose most of our bluefin. That and the fact that it's amazing how many of those fish, when you get them to color, they do that reverse roll. Yeah. And that's where, quite often, that's where you'll lose 150-pound tuna. When he gets to color, you think he's going that one way in a circle. So often they just roll over the opposite way, and that's where you lose them.
And start shaking their head, and they have teeth.
Oh,
yeah. And that's why fluorocarbon's so important in that.
It's like I've said many times before, if you don't think those teeth are sharp, the next time you land a 50-pound tuna, just go ahead and run your finger back and forth across his teeth and see if it works.
Yeah.
Good on that.
Well, let's go ahead and jump back on the phones,
You
Rick.
got it, man. Everybody's packed up and very patiently holding. Let's talk to Doug. He's on some Montebello this morning. Hi, Doug. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I was wondering about the paperwork. Do you have to, as a boat captain, you have to fill out some kind of manifest for whoever, like the Coast Guard or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of
Lots
stuff.
of stuff.
A long-range boat has to do so much more. They have to file things in advance with the Coast Guard. They have to do all their custom papers. There's a lot of paperwork to it, more than ever. And now on the boats themselves, the skipper has more work than ever. A lot of it has to do with the horrible fire that happened on the Conception. Naturally, when something like that happens, even though it was
The fault
of poor operator, poor operation. They come up with all kinds of new rules that we're going to have to do now, and you've got to keep copies of your watch list and everything else to prove that you had a rover.
How many people do you have to have up at night? Is it one?
It's two.
Two.
No,
you have to have two people up at night.
You have to have two.
Yeah,
and anybody,
that's a Coast Guard requirement.
And anybody that doesn't. Now, one of those can be the cook.
Okay.
And
but two people have to be awake at all times.
And I think there so many years we ran with one person.
Yeah.
But anymore it's got to be two. And I even stress to my guys that you have that alarm on the bridge. The skipper should take that to bed with him. It shouldn't be available for anybody. That alarm's got to stay on.
Stay with the captain. And that's a watch alarm. And what is a watch alarm?
Yeah, could you maybe explain that? Because I think a lot of people don't know what you're talking about when you say a captain take an alarm with him. Like, what does that even mean?
When I go to bed, or when Roy goes to bed, he sets the alarm for either 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes. And that means it's an obnoxious alarm. Okay. I can tell you that. And if the guy that's driving doesn't remember to shut it off at, say, 14 minutes or 13 minutes, he has to get out of his chair. He can't just reach over because it's too far away, and that's intentional. He has to get out of his chair, shut it off, and if it goes off, it's going to usually wake up a crew member. So
and that's true whether you're just running or sitting at anchor.
No, not when you're sitting. Okay. Now, when you're sitting and drifting, you only need one person aboard.
Okay.
But
one person.
Right.
Okay.
Now, remember, on the Conception, there wasn't even one.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but the watch alarm is not on when you're at anchor or drifting or at anchor.
Strictly traveling.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And that and the reason for that is obvious, that if something goes wrong, a disaster can be prevented.
When you think about how hard these crews are working, it's my worst nightmare. Okay, but I really emphasize to Roy, to Renee, and especially to Aliar. Only I say Aliar especially because he's kind of new at this long range thing. How important it is when fishing is slow, you make damn sure you get a crew member down to sleep. And whenever you can, if you can get two guys down, get two guys down, because we got to keep them caught up on their sleep, because that's where troubles happen.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. That's why I push. Rather than filleting on a boat, that's for the day boats, I push used processors when you can.
Yeah.
Because then you got your crew up until 10, 11 at night, and then they go on the wheel watch.
Yeah.
So
not good.
There's only so much a body can do.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Hey, with that, we're going to find out what's going on the water. It's time for our FishDope.com report with the man, Captain Dave Hansen, your saltwater guide. Today, it's sponsored by Dana Landing on Mission Bay, your one-stop shop for everything you need to go fishing, a complete saltwater tackle store, a great deli. They offer Mexican and California licenses. They do trips, those killer six-pack charters. And when it comes to freshwater tackle, check out East County Bait and Tackle, full of all the freshwater tackle and live bait that you need for a great day on the lake. Dana Landing is right across from SeaWorld, next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay. And East County Bait and Tackle, they're at the end of the 67 freeway at Mapleview and Lakeside. Check DanaLanding.com for more info. And we got the man, Dave Hansen, standing by. Good morning, Dave.
Hey, good morning, Pete, Rick, Frank.
Good morning.
Thanks for letting me be on the show this morning. Hey, real quick, I'm going to go into the fish report thing, but Frank, can you give us a story about my dad? I think you've known him longer than I have, and there's not very many people that have known him longer. So if you can come up with a story when I hang up, that'd be rad. But guys, the fishing snapped right back. A few boats made it over to Catalina yesterday. There was yellowtail in the mix, barracuda, bonita. Calico bass are in the spawning mode over there. And then along the coast, the water got a little beat up, but like Brian said, it's still, the temperature didn't dump like we usually get when you have all that wind. So, and the kelp beds have grown back phenomenally, so there's going to be fun calico bass fishing up and down the coast here. Now we're going to have some beautiful weather this week. Things are laying down. Then look at the San Diego goes down because of the weather, goes down to the Coronados, and lo and behold, they stumble right into those yellowtail again. I don't know what's going on that boat, the San Diego, but my goodness, whatever he's got, we all need to catch it. That guy is insane. That is insane. He, day in and day out, day after day, dragging the 30, 40 skiffs around with them. I can't even comprehend how he does it, but that is an amazing fisherman on that boat right there. Either one of them. You get Ryan, our relief captain, they just keep showing us day after day how good they are. And then offshore, look at Aliar, look at the bluefin are here. They're still here. They haven't gone anywhere. You know what? nothing makes sense anymore. Historically, we see a big wind like this, and it'd take a couple weeks for the water to recover, but that's not the case anymore. I don't know what's going on out there. It doesn't make any sense, but don't worry. When the wind blows, that just means the fishing's going to be better.
Okay.
Like it, Dave. We'll
yeah,
take
that's
it.
good stuff. And, of course, Danny and the boys at fishdope.com have had all the great information for you, all the spots, all where to go. They even have the weather updates and everything you need to go fishing. The fishing, like all you was talking about, those new fishing charts that they have. Fantastic stuff at fishdope.com. $20 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup Now, or lowercase, no space. Hookup Now is your $20 code, a must-have for anglers wanting to go fishing, especially on your own boat. Fishdope.com. And how do we find you, Dave?
One other thing, Frank. My dad said you taught him that squid was not for bait. And maybe that's a good story. But that you had some squid in the tank one day off the pier, and you showed him that's not bait. Let me show you what that stuff is. But hey, guys, if you want to,
right?
Yeah, you want to find me, your saltwater guide. .com, and I'll teach you how to not have to follow boats around to catch fish. I'll show you how you can be successful on your boat. YourSaltwaterGuide.com, and I'll talk to you guys next Sunday.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate that, Dave. All right, let's hear it, Frank.
All right, a story. I've known him for 69
Don
years.
Hansen.
69 years.
69 years. You were working as a deckhand for him,
I
right?
started working around 9, 10. I was on his boat when I was 8 fishing.
Wow.
And, before I started working as a pinhead for $2 a day, he would, when we would go home, he would tell me, see that point right there? Head for the point. And when you get into so much water, then you'll see the pier, just head it for the pier. And I was 9.
Wow.
There was no automatic pilot. And
you had to drive the boat.
Yeah, and it was an open bridge, and he would just lay down on the gunny sacks and go to sleep.
Wow. Wow. And how many crew members were
What
on
do you
the
think
boat?
the Coast Guard would have thought?
Yeah, having a 9-year-old on the boat. I don't think that would go over too well today.
No, the crew members were busy scrubbing the boat and filleting
fish. Yeah. And that was like a Catalina run?
No. That was fishing barn kelp.
Barn kelp, okay.
Barn kelp, Box Canyon, all of that.
Wow. And he'd go down and lay on gunny sacks.
No, he'd be right behind me.
Right behind you.
Yeah,
when you say an open wheelhouse, so there's no sides on it?
No, there was no cabin. It was
no
just
cabin.
Just a flying bridge.
Just a flying bridge. Yeah. Wow. And what boat was that?
Clemente.
On the Clemente.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
That's a great story.
That was a good story,
yeah,
Don.
I dig it. That's
I'm
cool.
sure Don's listening too. And Don
just goes to show how old I am. Is all
you guys stop.
And while we're at it, you talk about a true legend in the business. It's Don
Hansen. Yeah.
It's what he has done for the industry.
Right.
He has been on so many commissions. He has made so many trips to Washington, so many trips to Sacramento. The man has been gold for the sport fishing industry. Doesn't get anywhere near the amount of credit he should get.
Yeah, for sure. Don is a true asset to our industry, and we're still glad you're still around with us too, Don.
That's
and
right, Don.
I know we know you're listening, so keep at it for sure.
Well, that wraps up our report from your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. I want to remind you that sponsored by the Fish Pros of Fisherman's Processing in San Diego. Not only do they offer the best processing for your fish when your trip returns to the San Diego landings, as well as your private boat catch, but now with Fish Pros in the market, you can purchase fresh fish. They have smoked and jerkied fish, all their great spices, rubs, the smoked cheese, famous tuna burgers, and that amazing poke kit. It's all available, and now their brand new location is open and ready to go in Old Town on Taylor Street. Call for details or order online at fishermansprocessing.com.
All right, let's jump back in those jam-packed phone lines, Rick.
Bob in Cerritos is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, and good morning, Frank. And
good morning.
I would like to. My most memorable trip was on Takas. Remember down in 2006 when we were on the ridge, and you put a limit on the cutoff on the size of the fish, and that was an amazing trip. I think we cut off like over 150 yellowfin tuna, and Taka had gotten like 10 of those guys over 200 pounds, and that is, I think, my most memorable trip. And I also want to say that Royal Polaris is probably the best fishing platform in operation down there in San Diego.
Well, thank you for that. I must say there are other operations that are top-notch also that I'm very proud of that they operate from our landing. So there's other boats that do one amazing job, but I sure appreciate the compliments, and we thank you very much.
Now, one of the first, and thanks for the call, too. We appreciate that. One of the first guys you introduced me to in this industry when we started Let's Talk Hookup 30 years ago was Taka Tanaka. Oh, yeah. What a gentleman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's still there in the tackle store.
He's still working the tackle store?
Him and Katie are still there.
Still working it. Wow.
Still building rods. He's got his son helping him.
Yeah.
You know, they're fabulous people, and you know,
is he still fishing with you?
No.
Yeah.
He quit fishing it's been almost 5 years.
5 years.
Say. We still have Taka's group on the boat.
Yeah.
You know? But, in fact, that trip's full for next January.
Wow.
I think all of our long trips except the freelance 22-day special is full, and it has 2 openings.
Wow. Now, we had a text that came through that wanted to know about that 22-day freelance trip.
Well, it's just a trip that we have... well, I know where I'm going to go, and ideas where I'm going to go, but it's just freelance. And
yeah.
We're going to be, targeting tuna and other types of fish, and we're just going to be out there for a little longer period of time. And the group that's aboard is a wonderful group that's aboard so far, and it's just a fun trip, I think.
And when's the
January?
Trip?
It's next February.
Next February.
Yep.
And 22 days, you're flying back from the Cape?
You have the option.
You have the option to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it would be like a 19-day trip.
Correct.
Then. Yeah. But wow, what flexibility you have to go to so many great destinations.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there you go. And some of the destinations are going to be new to us. We're doing some exploring.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds cool.
And how many total passengers?
You've got, I believe it's 22.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, on that big boat.
It's just the idea is to have a great time with the people that are aboard the boat and enjoy good weather and hopefully some very good fishing. So there's no guarantees of where we're going or anything else. Okay,
I dig it.
You're going to have a good time. That's a guarantee.
That's for sure. There again, like Taka said, we're going fishing. We're going to have a great time, and if we catch fish, it's a bonus.
There you go.
That's cool. Hey, we had a good text come through. So good morning, guys. This is Dave from Granada Hills. Frank, can you touch on COVID testing for the RP before a trip? I'm on a day-and-a-half trip in June. I've been fully vaccinated. Do we still need a negative test before we board? Thanks. I love the show. And I love the RP.
On your day-and-a-half trips, you do not. We are not testing. Okay, on our 3-day trips and longer, at least to the end of June, we are still doing the test where where you put the swab up your nose, and we're still doing that. And
3 days or better.
Yes, 3 days or longer. And as far as the other precautions, we're still asking our crew to wear a mask as often as possible. The biggest thing that we have is that before the boat leaves, your whole sleeping area, all staterooms are sprayed with the same chemical they use in the hospital that are supposed to kill viruses. And we have this AirPro system in our air conditioning that is also that emits ions that attack all viruses and supposedly kill them. And that's through every stateroom. So that's what we're doing. Plus, we are still asking people to maintain some social distance in the galley. That's become a tough one because guys get together. Hey, Frank, or hey, Roy, is it okay if we eat together? Well, sure. If you want to eat together, you can. You and your 3 buddies, right. Of course you can. But it gets tough to enforce it. A lot of people feel that COVID is no longer around. Well, I got news for you. It is still around. Okay, yeah. Just look at the San Diego Padres. They're right there. You got 5 key guys that have got it. We had a couple instances right here at the marina where people who have had the vaccination got it.
Really?
So it's not over with by any means, and that's why we're going to keep using those swabs at least till the end of June, and then we'll play it by ear from there.
And then you're still, of course, encouraging people that are coming aboard to be vaccinated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Being vaccinated is so huge. And the other thing is you still have to bring your own pillow. Yeah. And we are still taking all of the blankets and the covers and you don't use one from the passenger before. It's all
clean.
Freshly laundered.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
I hope that answers your question well
Great
enough.
text. Yeah, that was awesome.
No, that's good information.
Phones are packed. We're going to keep it rolling. Mark and Santee is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Great.
We're great, Mark. How are you?
My question is for Frank. Frank, compare fishing 50 years ago to fishing now, and which do you prefer?
Which do I prefer? I prefer fishing today. Mm-hmm. Fishing 50 years ago, I feel maybe in a few species was a little better. For example, the broomtail grouper and the leopard grouper and that type of thing. The bluefin fishing is much better now. The yellowfin fishing, maybe not quite as good, but still awfully good. But it just, the wahoo fishing is better, and a lot of it has to
White sea bass fishing is better.
Well, white sea bass. I don't even count them as a fish, simply.
They're a ghost. It's a ghost.
Fishing for white sea bass, you're crazy if you go fish for them, because you should just wait for them to find you. and when they do find you, they may still not want to bite. So,
and not the truth.
But that's the way I just feel about white sea bass. Trying to target white sea bass, except for when they get on the squid, is a very difficult thing. But I just feel that biggest part of the reason why the fishing's so much better now is the sonars that we have on the boat, the spectra that we can use, the techniques, the reels. When we used to, 50 years ago, when we were fishing on the islands, you were fishing for those big yellowfin with 6/0 and 9/0 senators.
I just can't imagine.
I held many reels where they got hot in my hand, or where I would take a bucket of water while a guy's fighting a fish and just pour it over the reel.
Wow.
To try and cool the drag.
And it was all monofilament.
Yeah, it was all mono.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Guys, I can remember sitting at O'Neill Rock where every guy on the boat got spooled.
Wow.
It was just crazy. But
and you probably had some pretty good deckhands that knew how to replace drag washers in those reels back then too, right?
Absolutely. You had to have a bunch, that's for sure. But, it's so fishing's much better today, to answer your question, okay?
All right.
That's fun. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More your phone calls, more great information. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090.
This is Pete, and I hear it all the time. That Jim and Mary at Poway Valley Collision are amazing. I took my car to Poway Valley Collision, mentioned Let's Talk Hookup, and they gave us VIP treatment, fixed our car, and even gave us a special price. Believe me when I say Poway Valley Collision is worth the drive from anywhere in the Southland. At some point, your car will need a body repair, and I'm confident in saying it pays to go to Poway Valley Collision. Our listeners can save hundreds of dollars on your next car or truck repair. They work with most insurance companies, including Auto Club, MetLife, Wawanesa, and more. All you do is call Jim, Mary, or any of their team members, and they do all the rest. No hassles, just top-notch work and VIP treatment. When you take your car or truck to Poway Valley Collision, the job and experience will be top-notch. Get it fixed right at Poway Valley Collision, 14211 Garden Road in Poway. Check PowayValleyCollision.com.
The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern. Our hard-working crew will make sure your fishing experience is one to remember. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet is second to none. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service operation offering great half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day open party trips on the spacious and comfortable Liberty. Since we introduced the full-day trips to Fisherman's Fisherman's Landing, the 85-foot Liberty has become a favorite among full-day operations with bunks for your comfort, huge bait capacity, and RSW fish holds to keep your catch fresh. Plus, Liberty has a big modern galley and 2 interior heads with showers. All our open party trips from half-day, full, or 1 to 3 day trips can easily be booked online at fishermanslanding.com or give us a call at 619-221-8500. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Baja has long been a favorite of many anglers for its wild feel, beautiful vistas, great people, and fantastic fishing. This is Katie with Sidrose Island Fishing Charters. Sidrose Island is one of those destination spots that has a reputation all its own. Sidrose Island Fishing Charters will have you fishing all our favorite remote locations for your personal best yellowtail and calico bass. Our spacious pungas are all fully equipped with lots of bait capacity along with large fish holds to keep your catch fresh. Or jump in one of our fully equipped Hobie Mirage Outback kayaks. Our captains are knowledgeable local fishermen who take pride in giving you a more personal island experience. Enjoy our single-room accommodations and spacious compound while our staff processes your catch and keeps you well fed with authentic cuisine and fresh pizzas from the wood-fired pizza oven. Check out our website, SidroseIslandFishingCharters.com, and all our social media for daily updates from the island during the season. Pick your dates on our online reservation system and come join us for a great time on Sidrose Island or give me a call, 760-913-9035.
This is Captain Art Taylor of Searcher Sport Fishing. Celia and I would like to thank all of our great customers for helping celebrate Searcher's 50th anniversary. Our 2021 schedule is available now with more limited load trips. The Searcher has a great crew, fantastic food, a family atmosphere to make your fishing adventure complete. Book your trip online at SearcherSportFishing.com. That's SearcherSportFishing.com. Or call Celia at 619-226-2403.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know, CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. If you want to join us, still time to get you through. We'd love to hear from you. 213-432-1090.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into those jam-packed phones, Rick.
You got it, buddy. Rich in Camarillo is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning, Rich.
Morning, everybody. I had a question in regards to a 1.5-day trip. If you get lucky enough to catch a big bluefin tuna, 200-pounder. So do they cut that fish on board, or is that sent to the processor?
It depends which boats you're on. The long-range boats pretty much use processors. We don't do any filleting aboard. I don't know of any that do. It just ends up being a lot better product. And the ones that are considered day boats or shorter-term boats, 1.5 to 3 day trips, some of those boats will fillet aboard for you or give you the option of filleting aboard or using a process.
Now, Polaris Supreme running a lot of 1.5 trips out of Seaforth. Are they sending fish to the processor?
Absolutely.
They're not cutting on board.
No, absolutely not. And I don't want to cut a board just because of the product. It's a much better product.
And also, you were talking about the crew rest too. I think that's important.
That's super important.
That never crossed my mind, and you're so right. That was a really just something you, from as a passenger standpoint, you just don't think about. And I liked what your thought was on that.
What? Some of the crews complain that they need that tip, that money, okay? But the truth is the people appreciate, if the crew's doing a great job, their tip money is every bit as good, and then the people still get a better product. And that's what, to me, is what brings the people back, is part of what brings them back. And that is that when you take home a product that, I gave some people some bluefin the other day, and that somebody gave me, and they called me the next day because they did their sashimi and sushi thing, and they said, "My God, Frank, that was some of the best fish I've ever had."
The quality, when you send your fish to Fisherman's Processing or one of the great processors, and especially if you put it in the 5 mil bag, man, that fish is gold. It is, and think about the value of that fish too today. And
if you go to buy it, you're paying $25 to $35 a pound.
And you're not buying quality that you can take off of the quality RSW filleted by professionals and vacuum packed and ready to go. You can't buy that quality.
Makes all the difference in the world as compared to having it filleted on the boat and put in a plastic bag.
It's night and day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely send it to Fisherman's Processing. You'll be very happy.
There's 3 processors, and I believe in all of them. Fisherman's Processing is without a doubt, because I started the company, my favorite. But I got to say, Drew does a fabulous job on 5-star.
No question.
So,
yeah.
But
Have you been to the new Fisherman's Processing facility?
That is an amazing facility.
They did a heck of a job, didn't they?
The size of those freezers and the size, the whole operation looks amazing.
Yeah.
It really does.
Are you a poke fan?
Yeah, I like poke.
Yeah.
But I much prefer the sashimi.
Oh, the sashimi, because their poke kit, I'm sure you've tried their poke kit. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, for sure.
And they're also selling some fresh fish, and they've got all their mixes and things in there. You want to check it out. And, when you get there, just ask Sean if to give you a little tour.
Yeah.
He's awfully proud of that, and he should be.
Should be. They did a phenomenal. It was a lot of work to get that thing done, but they got it done for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call.
Let's talk to a guy that I know loves a good piece of fish, and that's our buddy Gus, who's calling us from Burbank this morning. Good morning, Gus. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Yo, you guys. Good morning.
Yo, Gus.
Hi, Gus.
I am going to be going out Monday night on a day-and-a-half trip.
Nice.
And
on which boat, Gus?
I'm going on the Pacifica.
Nice.
All right.
At Seaforth. Great operation.
Fishing with Andrew. Good.
Yes, fishing with Andrew. And I heard Rick saying everybody's fishing with small hooks, and I'm wondering, is that mean that they're pretty much exclusive anchovies?
No,
or
not
is
at
there
all.
a mix?
It's still sardines, and I believe the guys are using Yes. Yeah. And I believe the guys are using anything from 1 down to maybe the bigger hook would be a 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 or 3-0, like on a sinker. I think on a sinker rig, you can get away with a bigger hook, and anytime you could, especially like Frank said. I mean, you have. The Polaris Supreme this morning had fish to 120 pounds. I mean, anytime you're talking about a fish over triple digits, the bigger the hook and the bigger the barb, the better your odds of that fish coming over the rail. And sometimes you can't use a real big hook, but anytime you can, you probably should. And a sinker rig, just in my opinion, would be one of those times.
Yeah.
You want to pay attention to it. You want to go to your smallest size hook that you can use when you're fly lining, I would say, for sure, okay?
Yeah, and so how small is small? It's too small.
Well,
it's not fair to say because every manufacturer is different.
Right.
You know what I mean? The number 2 from a Mustad is different from a Gamakatsu, is different from an owner, is different. So you just, you kind of have to eyeball it. Go to a great shop. Go to our shop. Go to Seaforth. Go to Dana. Go to a shop that really knows what they're doing.
Ask a crew member.
Exactly.
Buy an assortment and ask the crew member which hook should I use. Put him in his face and say, here's what I have. Which hook should I?
You got
select?
a quick second. Come into my box. This is what I've got. What's your opinion? You saw this yesterday and the day before and the week before. What do you think?
Some of the anglers I talk to that are very, very, very good anglers, I always ask them, and they're using smaller hooks than they ever have before.
No doubt.
Yes. It's just been that way lately, huh?
We've been talking about that a lot lately. In the tackle store forever. Since I was in high school working there, every time we went fishing, it was a 2-0 hook. That was all we ever sold forever. And the trend for sure now we look at a 2-0. Ooh, man, that's a big hook.
Yeah,
man. I don't know what you're going to do with that thing. Good, gaff something with it. Now a number 2 is common.
Yeah.
We only busted out number 2s when we were fishing for anchovies and albacore and calico bass, and now that's a common hook for fly lining for a tuna.
And it's hard to believe you can land a 100-pound fish with it.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's funny because, bluefinners, they need that stealthy approach, but then we look at that yellowfin at Guadalupe, it's the same same thing, right? I mean, it was the same program, and they wanted that smaller hook. So whatever it is, maybe they're getting more savvy on hooks or something.
There's no denying that a smaller hook gets bit better, but getting bit is not everything. You still have to land them. But, hooks are better now than they were, too. Using Gamakatsu makes really strong wire, and a hook that before you just wouldn't trust on a big fish. Just time and again, we see that fish getting landed on it.
I've said it before. The guy that says, I don't care if I land him, I just want to hook one. Well, that's pure BS.
Frank has been saying that on this show since I was a kid, and it's my favorite saying, and that rings true. I steal it from Frank all the time. Like, I'd rather just get a bite. You're so full of it. Like, you can say that all you want right now.
And then let's watch it when you pull the hook or the line breaks or whatever, right? Oh, you're crying like a baby.
Yeah. They never say, oh, that was such fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Frank, when you're on a long trip like down at Hurricane Bank, is it the same things that have been happening, smaller hooks, or no, not at all?
Not at all.
No, it's still the same program.
I would never suggest a small hook down there.
And then another question, small hook, what knot are you tying? I mean, guys that are really good anglers like Sanford, what knot are they tying on a number 2 hook?
We ought to have Sanford call in and tell us, but he probably wouldn't tell us.
Yeah.
I don't know, Rick, what's your favorite?
I tie a San Diego knot for just about everything until I get up to maybe line that's starting to get pretty big diameter, 80-pound or 100-pound, and then I like to tie a trilene knot just because...
a trilene's a popular
because it's the diameter... the knot starts to get pretty big at 80-pound and that kind of thing. So, but everything else I tie a San Diego.
And you don't use a unit because of its breaking strength? Or?
No, because I tie a trilene. I'm a big fan of tying a good knot and then knowing how to tie it. And I learned big fish fishing and heavy line how to tie the trilene. And I have confidence in it, and I've caught a bunch of big fish, so I keep tying that one. And I know that there's other knots that are just
like that
good.
Springer knot, super low profile. But I like that over 60-pound is I like that Springer knot. But
Collins, I believe
that John's a big Springer knot guy because it's super low profile. But that trilene knot is more difficult to tie, but it's a great knot.
I'm just pardon the pun, but a knot broke, don't fix it guy.
Yeah,
I know
for sure.
That's what works for me, and I know that there's other knots that work just as good, maybe better for other people, but I know if I tie the trilene that it's going to be right for me, and I know that it's going to work, and so I just keep after it.
That San Diego knot, though, tried and true, that's such a great
still
knot.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's easy to tie, and it's hard to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it, and I make a lot of mistakes when I tie knots. So.
I like it, buddy.
It's hard to make a mistake on the San Diego.
Exactly, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump back into it, Rick.
How about Bruce from Lemon Grove that's on Let's Talk Hookup? Bruce, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I know you guys are banging on the tuna right now, but I've got a question for Frank about fly fishing. How much have you done of it, and do you enjoy it, and how easy is it?
I don't find it to be horribly difficult. I've done it on the Sacramento River about 3 times, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. My daughter-in-law really loves to fish, to fly fish, and she does that up at our pond. But I haven't done that much of it, and do I enjoy it? Yes. I think it's an ancient form of fishing in many ways, and I think it's quite an art. But it's I just really enjoy a conventional reel and making a nice cast and all of that. Not that you don't make a great cast with a fly rod, but I think you should talk to Pete Gray about fly fishing because he's the enthusiast. Am I an enthusiast of fly fishing? No, I can't say that I am. But, boy, we've sure had some of the world's best fly fishermen on the Royal Polaris and on the Shogun. And it's fun to watch them, and I think that it's an amazing sport. It's just not something that I enjoy as much as using a conventional reel and making a nice cast.
Yeah,
okay?
I just spent 5 days up in Montana and Missoula, and that is a fly fishing heaven. Literally every corner has a fly shop up there. It's amazing, and that's what they do up there. And for me, I love fly fishing. Do I love fly fishing in saltwater? Absolutely not. Give me a towel Metallica and a CalStar rod, and that's my deal in the salt water. Have I tried fly fishing for salt water before? Yes, but I don't. For me, that's not the deal. But there is a time and a place for fly fishing, in my opinion, and that is trout. Trout love the fly, and a good fly fisherman can outfish a conventional fisherman 5-1.
Oh, I believe that.
On a fly. Yeah, and that's true. Like, we were up in Pyramid Lake in April, and Mike Lum was with us, and Mike Lum's a damn good fisherman, and the fly was out fishing him on the conventional. Like, I'm 4-5-1, you know, yep. and then he said, okay, I got to switch to a fly rod here. But there's a time and a place for a fly, and in my opinion, it's trout.
I think that so many of the good surface iron fishermen around here would make the best fly fishermen. You know, like, so much of learning to become a good fly caster is just feeling when your rod loads up and knowing the feeling when the rod is completely loaded or not all the way. And a guy that's good at casting a surface iron, it's the same thing. You know, you learn that your rod is what's making the cast more than anything else. And once you understand that feeling, those skills transfer to fly fishing so fast.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the feel thing.
Totally,
it's just like, definitely it's a fishy thing.
Totally,
yeah. But it's a wonderful sport, and you know, especially in the right place at the right time, you can have.
I don't like to admit how into it I'm getting.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's because
contagious.
it is. I don't know.
And is it just for trout, or are you into for trout, or are you into for bass? Because a lot of bass fishermen like it.
We talk about it a lot. I'm not sure what I like more, whether I like fly fishing or I like going fishing in the places where you go fly fishing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm into so much right now. I like going into the rivers and the mountains and big trees and my wife and my dog and those types of things. Like, that's what I really like. The places that you fly fish, I think, are what I like more than the part of it themselves. But I really am. I'm getting really into it.
Yeah.
And I don't like to admit it all that much.
It's fun. You know, I said Katmai Lodge, which is one of our sponsors here, and it's a wonderful place to fly fish. I have fished the conventional spinning outfit up at Katmai and absolutely slayed the trout up there too.
It's just what we did.
That can happen in certain places.
Sure.
So to say that fly fishing always outfishes the conventional, not necessarily.
But it's another tool.
It's another tool.
Sometimes fly line and a bait's a better choice, and sometimes a Tatty 45 is. And a well-rounded fisherman's got all those tools in their pocket. You know?
You bet. And if you want to fish like power bait up in the Sierras, if that's your thing, you can catch them that way too, right?
Get after it. Hey, the phones are packed up. Everybody's excited to talk to Frank. Next up is Chuck. He's calling from Dana Point this morning. Hi, Chuck. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. Isn't it a shame it's so nice on land and it's windy out in the ocean? Drives me nuts. But,
it's not bad.
Shoot, Frank, you had your hours in by the time you were 12 to get your captain's license if you were driving at 9, right? Now, my question is, on those big fish that go straight into the cooler on your boat, obviously you're spiking them and bleeding them, but are you gutting them before they go in there and then shipping them to the processor, or they go to the processor with
anything over 35 pounds gets gutted, gets gilled and gutted.
Right.
Fish, cool. Yellowtail in that 20, 25-pound class, tuna in the 20, 25-pound class. The reason for that is the temperature of the fish. Okay, well, a bigger fish takes longer to cool down, and by opening up the cavity and everything else, it's going to cool a lot faster. So that's why we do it to the bigger fish, and we don't worry about the smaller fish because they're going to cool down fast enough. Okay,
good answer.
It's such an art form watching the guys on the deck of your boat, how fast they can get through a gill and gut job, because we try
all over it.
We try to take the same care of our fish on the skiff, and boy, like, it takes me 10 minutes to, make a bluefin all nice and gilled and gutted, and I'll watch Roy or whoever it is on the deck of that RP with just a couple of turns of the knife, and that thing is hollow and clean and washed out, and down below they're so good at it.
And a majority of the crews on the boats are very, very good at it.
Yeah, I wish we had the care when we had the albacore around back in the day, would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Thanks, Chuck.
Those guys are still filleting fish, that's crazy. But thanks for all your hard work. You're like the Godfather, man. Talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck.
We're lucky to have Frank, for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the call. Don't forget, I want to remind you, don't forget, this coming Saturday is the big San Diego County Ford Dealers remote broadcast. Your first chance to win that trip to Kingfisher Charters and the trip on the Blackjack and all the rest of that great AFCO gear and more. So that's going to be a fun event. It's this Saturday at Encinitas Ford. It's our first remote broadcast, and we're only doing 4 this year, so not very many remote broadcasts going to happen this year. So you're going to have a chance to go hang out with us and meet Mark Wheeler, meet Wayne from CCA, and a lot of great people come to that. So come on out and join us this Saturday, 7 to 9 a.m. at Encinitas Ford. Let's go ahead and jump back on the phone.
All right. How about we talk to Robert? He's called us from Orange this morning. Robert, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hi, Robert.
Hey, I fished 3-day on the Polaris Supreme, and I used to fish with Tommy, and I couldn't ask for a better transition, and I can't say enough about LA Air and your operation out there. You guys are just doing a great job. Now, I have a question. What's the biggest bluefin they've caught in this recent bluefin run of these past few years? And do you guys think we'll see a 500-pounder?
I'd be a little shocked to see a 500-pounder. I know you'll see some 400-pounders, but God, I would have. Who's to say you won't see a 500-pounder? But I'd be a little surprised to see a 500-pounder.
But 400's a possibility.
Yeah, it's a possibility. But to me, the fact that there's been a few 400-pounders is just amazing. And it seems like the bigger fish, are definitely more that August, September, October, especially October, November. November seems to be a really good month for the big guys.
That's why I'm so pumped on what's going on right now. We're already seeing such good fishing right now in May, and knowing that if it's anything like the last few years, which there's no reason it wouldn't be, we're talking about the best of it in November. We've got so much great fishing in front of us right now.
And we've had, think about it, we've had so many weather issues here this spring. I mean, the wind's just been blowing, and now we're headed into our good time of the year. Think about how much better it could be, right?
I think last year we had yellowfin by the 1st of June. This year I think it might be 15th or 20th of June before we see the yellowfin, and the Dorado and all of that. But there's a lot of fabulous fishing to look forward to.
And there's so much bait in the water.
It looks like they're going to stick around, that's for sure. There's no reason for them to move. You never know what's going to happen, but it sure looks good. And as far as, this April-May fishing has been going on now for 4 years at least, maybe 5, and it looks like it's something that's going to stay that way. So
we like it.
I'm ready. Hey, when we come back, speaking of great fishing, we're going to find out who's going fishing on board the Liberty. We're giving away a full-day trip. You stay tuned. There's more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way in the Let's Talk Hookup app and the mightier 1090.
One of the dream trips for most anglers is Alaska. There are so many lodges. How do you make a choice? It's easy. Choose the one most Let's Talk Hookup listeners return to time after time. Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. No one does it better than Kingfisher Charters. They offer the best service, the most comfortable accommodations, fantastic food, and the finest charter captains in Sitka. All for the ultimate value. One visit and you will understand why nobody beats Kingfisher Charters. Sitka is famous for some of the best runs of salmon in Alaska. And if giant Alaskan halibut is your target, the expert captains at Kingfisher Charters know the hot spots and can put you on a fish of a lifetime. Plenty of rockfish and huge lingcod are there too. And when it comes to fish processing, the best in Alaska is Kingfisher Charters. It's all included in your package. In fact, everything is included except tips. It is truly amazing how the Kingfisher crew continues the quality of service they deliver year after year. Kingfisher Charters, 800-727-6136, or check kingfishercharters.com. Here's the hot tip on the best fishing LA has to offer. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. They are home to LA's finest open party fleet, including overnight on the Freedom, Catalina Freelance on the Pursuit, half-day trips on the Monte Carlo, and 3/4-day trips on the Sea Angler. For your own private charter, we have the Outrider and Trueline available. There's always plenty of free parking and a fully stocked tackle store. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. Call 310-832-8304 or on the web at 22ndstreet.com.
Seasoned long-range fishermen know that the Red Rooster 3 is the finest fishing vessels in terms of technology, design, speed, comfort, and safety. This 105-foot sport fishing yacht meets every demand for comfort while delivering an unforgettable fishing vacation. Captain Andy Cates and crew are experienced, friendly, and sincere in their desire to help you have the trip of a lifetime. Book a trip on the Red Rooster 3, and you'll be back. Trips go fast. So check redrooster3.com or call Lee Palm Sport Fisheries at 619-224-3857. Give your boat the love it deserves and install a custom sea deck kit from Blue Seas Fabrication. Blue Seas is the West Coast's only certified sea deck fabricator and installer. Sea deck upgrades the look and feel of any boat, old or new. Sea deck non-skid decking adds comfort, convenience, safety, and value. Let the experts from Blue Seas Fabrication custom fit your deck, bridge, and interior with stylish, durable, stain-resistant, and easy-to-clean sea deck. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com and enhance your fishing experience.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. What a great show. Great time this morning. And speaking of a great boat, Tom from University City, you're going fishing on board the Liberty. Congratulations, and thanks for the call, man. That was a great time.
Captain Franco Preste, always, never enough time, but always a pleasure having you here in the world headquarters. Thank you very much for all you do. And, man, we didn't get a lot of chance to talk about the Royal Polaris, but we talked a lot about some great stuff and great long-range fishing. If somebody wants to come aboard the Royal Polaris or the Shogun, how do we do it?
619-226-8030 is our office, and that's Monica and Jen, and they do a fabulous job. Or you can go to Royal Polaris, Shogun, sportfishing.com, Polaris Supreme, sportfishing.com. We have Lindsay Montagudo, Renee's wife, taking care of reservations on the Supreme.
On the Polaris Supreme.
She
That's
does a
cool.
great job.
So it's not booked through Seaforth. It's booked through the Polaris
You
Supreme.
can book a lot of the day-and-a-half trips through Seaforth. It's best to go through Lindsay and our website.
Yeah, Polaris Supreme, sportfishing.com.
Correct.
Yeah, and again, even if it says full, call them up. Get on the list.
Standby list.
Yeah, get on the standby list. All right. Thanks to Andrew for all he does on the phones. And, of course, Adam, our app man. Thank you, Adam, for all he does there. And thank you out there, too. We'll be back next Saturday live from Encinitas Ford with Mr. Mark Wheeler and Wayne Cotto from CCA. That's going to be a great time live from Encinitas Ford next Saturday. And next Sunday, a special mystery guest. We'll tell you all about it during the week here. Thanks for listening today. A great show this week. And we'll see you next weekend and live at Encinitas Ford on Saturday, right back here on the Mightier 1090 and the Let's Talk Hookup app.